Today on the show, we have Julie Busby from the Busby Group at Compass, a real estate broker for nearly 20 years. Julie Busby is the founder and president of the Busby Group and in the top 1% of Chicagoland brokers. Julie and her all-female team are known throughout Chicago for their unmatched integrity and diverse portfolio. The Busby Group is proud to work with first-time buyers, luxury sellers, and everyone in between. Julie started her real estate career in 2001 when she partnered with one of the country's top brokers based in California. Since then, the Busby Group has sold over $450 million in real estate throughout Chicago. Visit the Busby Group at busbygroup, BUSBY group.com. Welcome, Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We are really excited to have you. This is the first all-female team we've ever featured on our show. You guys are absolute superstars and legends in Chicago. So this is very exciting for us. No, you are. And this is really, and in fact, the reason we're doing this is I was seated next to one of your team members at a Chicago Real Producers, whatever. And she was like, what do you do? And I was like, oh, whatever. And I mentioned the podcast. She's like, you got to have us on your show. And I was like, oh, you're on our, I was like, you guys are on our list. So now we're so excited to have you. This is really awesome.
Super cool. Yeah.
Very, very cool. Tell us a little bit about how you got into real estate all those years ago.
So yes, I was in San Diego, California, and I had always wanted to be an entrepreneur. So I actually was looking into the best return on an investment, and I kept coming back to real estate. I don't know, I've always been a workaholic. I started selling insurance in high school. And yeah, it's kind of crazy. I did a co-op program, left high school at noon every day and went to an insurance agency. So anyways, through that, I partnered actually with a realtor, and I was always fascinated with her career. And then when I knew I wanted to own my own business one day, I just kept coming back to real estate. Ended up approaching a woman who went to church with me, and it ends up, I knew she was a productive realtor, and I approached her and I said, hey, can I come intern with you for free? And I did that, and lo and behold, she was the number 3 broker in the nation at the time. So
oh my God.
Definitely learned from the best. That was back in like 01. 01 is, I think, when I got my license. And so I started working with her like 01, 02.
Is it like, I want to go back to a couple of things.
Yes.
First, no. This is really important. I always tell people the same thing is like work for free. Find a mentor, somebody who's already being successful, and just go, can I shadow you? Can I hang out with you? Even if you have to pay them, I think you would probably agree that what you learned from her has got to be worth so much more than the little amount you didn't get paid back then, right?
So what's funny is I've actually done it twice in my career. I've had to rebuild my team and my career twice. So I started my career in San Diego, California, became a top 1% producer out there. And it all started from me approaching that woman and shadowing her, just learning from her, being a free intern. Then when I moved out here, another top broker I knew through my network, and I said, hey, can I come work with you for free? I helped her become, I think we were number 1 that year in Chicago. And then that just springboarded me to my career now in Chicago.
Wow.
Yeah, so I did it twice. Yeah.
First of all, you walked away from an incredibly successful career in California. Was that scary for you? Were you nervous, or were you like, I've done this once, when I moved to Chicago, I can do this again?
It was not scary. I felt like I had reached the pinnacle of my career, which is funny because I've now exceeded it further. I was actually moving here because of a boy. We're still together. He's my husband. He was stationed he was a helicopter pilot for the Navy. He retired from the Navy, came out here. His family's out here. I came kicking and screaming because of my real estate career and the business I had grown. And so when I first moved out here, the plan was actually I was going to open a fitness studio. It was like, I've reached my pinnacle of my career. I'm proud of myself. I'm going to now start like a fitness empire. Got my real estate license to represent myself because I wasn't happy with the service level I was getting. And from that, me and this other top producer got back connected again because I got my license. And then I said, you know what, let me work for you for free for a summer and see how that goes. And here I am. That was 2011. So we're now 2020. So it was 9 years ago. And now I just did 45 million last year. So it's been a busy 9 years. Yeah.
Wow. With just out of curiosity, I just have a quick question about your husband because this is awesome. So a million years ago, I used to work for a beer distributor, and we went at one point. This was a couple hours east of San Diego, where the Blue Angels
Yeah,
train.
yeah,
It's an area near El Centro.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I was gonna say your husband probably has been there, knows all about it. And when I
Our
was there were no joke, there were like 200 earthquakes that day in
oh
that
gosh,
area. They were all tiny ones, but it was the
but
coolest thing ever.
we yeah, San Diego, we had a ton of earthquakes. I have some fun stories about that. But yes, we have good friends who are Blue Angels, and it's
I
cool.
bet.
They would do air and water show. I was always working and couldn't come watch them, and so they would say, "Well, where are you showing property today?" And they would come and tip the planes. Like,
No,
yeah, it was
that's
cool.
amazing.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
and you know it's funny, and I imagine you probably would agree is a lot of times these top producers in real estate. I always ask them, "Oh my gosh, you must be inundated with requests from people that want to intern with you." And they're like, "Not really." A lot of
No,
them are like, "No, not that many people approach me."
yeah.
And here you did it twice. You went up to top producers, and not only in and again, this you sort of said it was sort of by accident. You didn't realize how successful the person in San Diego was, but literally the number 3 person in the country. That is an untouchable, unreachable person. And you were like, "No, I just went up and asked," and then I mean, how important is that mentorship or that internships in and how you've charted your success?
It's huge. I will tell you, did I get a lot of hands-on training from them? No. Formal training? No. But did I learn through osmosis?
Sure.
100%. And both times the women were very successful, had many listings at one time. So I would also just learn the marketplace so much sooner than if I was on my own, because I'm
Yeah.
looking at 20 properties a day versus your average broker who might just see like one property a day. So I learned the marketplace very quickly. And I think it's important to, yeah, approach, get out of your comfort zone and approach someone that you admire, and ask for mentorship. Yeah, it's rare. I definitely have people approach me to join the team, but to just
Sure.
work for me for free or just to shadow me doesn't happen often. No.
It's always amazing, and it's one of those things where I always tell people, like, yeah, like if you need to offer to pay them to hang out with them, like do that too, because it is absolutely worth it. And it's flattering to that person as well. It's they don't need to be flattered, but it's a very fulfilling thing to think like, wow, I could help that person. And I always think like, go up to every, it's the same thing that I always say to realtors, even who join our firm. I say, go up to, we have lots and lots of realtors at our firm. And I was like, go up to them and ask if you can do open houses, and continue to ask, because if you're new and you don't
100%.
have, yeah, right. Um,
Right.
and so I want to talk about your group, because you guys have, I should say, you women, I shouldn't say that either, but you have an all female team, which I think is so cool. Can you talk about like how you started the team? At what point in your career were you like, okay, I need to build a team?
Um, so the team just happened organically. I knew I needed, once you get to a certain level, you realize you need some help administratively. And then usually, like they say, the next hire would be like a buyer broker. So I did that originally. It was admin and then a broker on the team. And then candidly, we just kept growing and growing. And I've always been a workaholic. I mean, again, I started working when I was in high school. So
Yeah.
I was easily putting in 90-hour days. And I also have a certain level of service that I want to provide my clients. And in order to do that, I was working around the clock.
Yeah.
I do have 2 little kiddos. I have a 4-year-old and a 1-year-old.
Oh,
So it's, candidly, I wanted quality of life. And in
sure.
order to have quality of life and still offer the level of service that I think is very important in this industry, I had to grow the team. And so it just happened organically. And then people just kept falling in my lap. I've been very, very blessed with the brokers and team that we have in place. They've honestly fallen in my lap. And it's one of those where there's such amazing, incredible, talented people that it's like I can't turn them away. So I
Yeah.
got growing the team again. So that's where we're at, where we are. Did I have the initiative to grow an all woman team? No. It's just happened, that that talent has fallen in my lap. So.
And I think your website's a really good reflection of your culture and what your team stands for and what you offer. So I really want to plug your website again, just because I think it's a really strong website. I see a lot
Thank
of
you.
realtor websites that I think most of them aren't that great, to be perfectly frank, but yours is.
Aw,
So it
good.
is. It's clean. It's simple. It's really clear what you guys offer. And also there's cool things like you have hey, send us your email and we'll send you our little black book, which is basically all your vendors that you
Right.
recommend, which sounds like a simple idea, and it is, except it's providing value. That's a reason alone just to even visit your website, is like you get some value just by visiting.
Right.
Whereas a
Right.
lot of people, it's just, hey, it's an online business card kind of, but yours actually has some value. So yeah, go to the Busby, I'm sorry, busbygroup.com.
Thank you.
What I want to talk about, you mentioned, hey, I work a lot. You work a lot. What do you think, aside from that, has made the difference for you? There are 40,000 plus realtors in the Chicagoland area. You are in the top 1%. What do you think it is that you've done differently than the vast majority of brokers who maybe haven't had your level of success?
So definitely service level is 100% important to set yourself apart. Also, with experience, with almost 20 years of experience, I've seen it all. I will say throughout my career, especially in the beginning, I was just getting hit hard with very challenging transactions. And even still today, I get very challenging transactions. And in the beginning, I would say, woe is me, because I was in San Diego and people were doing, $20 million deals just like that, no big deal. And I'm over here struggling and learning every step of the way. And now I look back and I'm so thankful for that time to grow, and experience speaks volumes. I've seen every hardship, every challenge. I was working hard. I became top short sale producer in Southern California during the financial crisis. So I've seen it all, and experience speaks volume, and I can truly navigate the entire transaction for my clients and tell them, what road bumps might come ahead and how we can overcome them.
I imagine that makes you really valuable to your team members too. When you guys collaborate on client ideas and struggles, somebody in the team knows how to handle it because they've been through it already.
Yep. Yes, absolutely. And honestly, too, it's challenging. I have a brand new broker on the team who is trying to grow her business and grow her sphere. And she says, she just gets shot down sometimes and gets down on, someone makes an offer and then they decide to walk away and the deal falls apart. And she's so challenged by that and down about it. And I remind her, I went through this, and honestly, it's going to help you, because it's going to help you navigate along the way throughout your career. So all the twists and turns in your career, take them in stride and take it as a learning experience. So.
I was just moderating a panel of top producers for the YPN a couple of weeks ago, for the car YPN. And somebody from the audience, this is really funny. You'll appreciate this. We had a question and answer portion at the end, and we had Nancy Tassoni was on there, and Gail Spreen, and anyway, it was a great producer panel. And then somebody in the back said, one of my friends decided to go with another realtor other than myself, and I'm really upset about it. And the whole room, and they weren't laughing at this person, because
we're all like,
they were laughing because, and I just said, can everyone in the room raise their hands when this has happened? If
amazing.
This has happened to them? Everybody. Yes. And I said, you're not alone.
So funny. Oh, see, and it feels so good, to know like, oh my goodness, that top producer on the panel has been through this. So that's cool.
But speaking of, so we have thousands and thousands of listeners, and they are eager to hear advice from top 1% producers, and really want to hear, if you were to counsel a new broker or somebody who's looking to really increase their production, is there any advice you have? What would you tell them to do that's made the big difference for you?
Right. So we already touched on it. Definitely approach someone that you admire their business and could see as a mentor. Absolutely approach them. Absolutely ask to shadow them. I do usually say, check out a team. A team could be somewhere where you can learn, because there's, multiple different experiences that you can learn from, and you back each other up. And it's a collaborative environment. So I do recommend at least trying to find a mentor and try to shadow them and learn from them. And if a team is an option to you, definitely explore that. And then open houses. I've grown my business from a lot of open houses. So I think it's because I'm relational. I don't buy leads. I'm 99% referral and past business now, but I'm relational. So I'm not one that buys leads. I'm one who looks to relationships to grow my business.
Yeah, I'm always amazed at how many brokers don't beg other brokers to do open houses for them. And, if you're new to the business, or even if you're not new and just you're in between clients and you have nothing going on, book some open houses. And it's really
Totally.
hopefully you work at a firm where there's more than just you. And if it's more than just you, ask that other broker if you could do that for them. Usually, the answer in most cases is usually yes, because it makes them look good to the seller. And also, obviously, opportunity for you to learn how to talk more about real estate and maybe get some buyer leads along the way.
Absolutely.
So yeah, open houses are so important. And a lot of brokers, I think, maybe are just afraid. But I always say, definitely ask to shadow someone at an open house before you, if you're not.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So we have actually a couple listener questions that are part of what we just touched on. So I want to circle back to those. So
Okay.
we have Anonymous from Chicago asks, since you have an all-female team, are most of your clients female?
Good question. No, they are not. We help men and women the same amount. But I will say, I think studies are showing more and more that women are the decision makers.
Right.
So that is something we do keep in mind. But no, we don't just work with women.
Yeah. And by the way, we should mention to the listeners that Julie is not the first person from the Busby team to be on our show. And this is one of our great episodes. So if everyone listening, you go back about 100 episodes and you will find Susan Panozzo, who is a total superstar in and of herself. These are the quality of brokers that Julie has on her team. Susan was amazing. And so I should make a plug for her episode, which is like 2 years ago now. And it was so awesome. And I referenced it a lot because Susan is great because she has a huge history in doing rentals and with developers. And it is such a cool niche. And I was so glad to learn that she is now on your team because she was a total superstar on her own. And I was like, oh my gosh, they are so fortunate to have her. So you were actually not the first Busby Group.
Isn't that awesome? I love it.
Yeah. Okay. Another question from Vera from Chicago asks.
Okay.
Vera says, I am practicing solo right now, but I'm thinking about joining a team. What should I look for in a team and what should I look out for? Do you have any suggestions?
So that's a good question too. It's funny. One of the team members who joined my team, she's like, I don't know what to ask you. And I said, you know what, talk to me about this and then go talk to another team member about this, the same thing and see what makes sense for you. So, different teams are set up differently. So I think the number one thing is find out why are you thinking about joining a team? Is it because you're looking to grow your business? Is it because you like a collaborative environment? Is it because you want leads? Do you want backup? Do you want to be able to go on vacation? Imagine that in real estate, having backup. Think about what is important to you. And then that will come the questions for that team. I will tell you, our team is set up a little differently. I don't do leads, as I mentioned. I'm one who's more of a mentor to my team and help them grow their own sphere because I am very focused on relationships. And so that's something that's important to me is being genuine. And so I help them focus on their relationships and how are we going to grow those and help their friends and family and everyone that they've met. So, and then I also wanted to create an environment where we could back each other up because I have a crazy lifestyle and I have 2 little kiddos and I want to spend time with them. So that was important to me. And so that's what I'm looking for in my team members. But there's team members or potential team members I've met with, and they say, I really want someone who's buying the Zillow leads and they're just handing it off to me, and I'm going to run with it. Awesome. I'm glad you know that. That's not how we structured it, but there are amazing teams that do that. And it works just the same. I think the main thing is ask yourself what's important to you and why are you thinking about joining a team, and then that will bring you the questions to ask.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, I also think that if you're looking to approach a team and ask them to join, you better be able to articulate what you're going to offer them. Why do they need you on their team?
Right.
And if you just go to them and say, "Hey, I'm really not good at prospecting and I need leads." Well, yeah, there are teams that will bring you on.
Right.
But I think a stronger proposition is to go and say, "Here's what I can do for your team. And if you guys have extra leads, I'm open to that if that's what you want." But be able to say, "Here's why you have to get me on your team. Here's why I need to be on your team. Here's what I can bring to the table." And because a lot of times I think people look to join teams because they don't have enough leads, and that's what they need, and that's okay.
It is.
But
right.
yeah, but I think you should be able to say, "Here's what I can do for you." And if you can do that, you'll probably have a greater chance of success with that team, because they'll be able to, a lot of times teams know that people are looking for leads, and sometimes, that could be a great fit, but not always. I wanted to ask you also about your concierge level of service.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys get all sorts of requests. You have we won't mention names, but you've worked with professional athletes. Do you mind sharing the story of that unusual request?
I mean, we get so many crazy requests. Kenya on my team runs our concierge department. Her husband is a pro athlete. And so we created the concierge level service based on what they would expect. So I am very proud of us and all that we offer, but holy moly, do we get some funny requests. We had a very well-known, big, burly pro athlete who we helped get into a home. This was just last year. And he was relying on us for a lot of different concierge level services. And then one day we get a phone call. It was like 7 a.m. in the morning. Of course, I answered the phone right away. "Hey, how can I help you? What's going on?" Yeah, so I'm going out to go practice, and there's a frog in my front yard. "Okay, what can I help you with? Can you come get the frog?" I was shocked that this 200-pound burly athlete on his way to practice could not pick up the frog and figure out disposing of a frog, or not disposing, but move the frog out of his front yard. So we drove out there and helped take care of this frog.
But if the frog pees on his hands, it gets warts. And
oh, that's true.
That is not true. But
it was ridiculous. Yes,
that's funny.
It was funny to the team, but we of course helped.
Wait, did you go do it?
Yeah.
Did you find the frog?
And the manager lives with him, and he was there drinking red wine at like 8 a.m. and not even willing to help out with this frog. I mean, and he was also a big burly guy. It was just such a comical experience. Yes.
But I imagine when you do that, not only does it become an amazing story, but I imagine that athlete is like, she is awesome. She is willing to come out and do something as trivial as that. But it really speaks, and I know it's a funny story, but it really speaks to how committed you are to your clients. And obviously you'd hope that people wouldn't ask for things like that. But that being said, that's the market you've served in that particular way.
Right.
And those people might have different types of needs. And how cool is it that you're willing to go, "Hey, I'm not too important to go pick up a frog and go move it to the other yard."
Not at all. Oh, you have no idea. We always joke like luxury real estate. We should start like a behind the scenes blog of luxury real estate, because we'll be cleaning up bathrooms that are pretty messy. I'll leave it at that. I mean, it is not luxury. Yeah.
But that's the job, right? Like ultimately it's all the little things, isn't it? Like
yes.
It's the picking up the phone at 7 a.m. Now that doesn't mean everyone always has to do that. Everyone can set their own boundaries.
Set the boundaries, right?
But I will tell you, that is an impressive thing. I mean, if we even just think about all the other services that we pay money for, financial advisors, insurance, lenders, really anything, contractors, landscapers, financial, whatever. How many of those people pick up their phones at 7 a.m.? It's pretty much nobody, right?
Right.
So it doesn't mean you have to give up all of your life. Obviously, you've struck a balance, and I know it's not easy, but you also are there, and that's the commitment you've made. And as a result, look at where you are. And I think, you know, it's a funny example, but it's also a good example of like, hey, if you want to be a top producer, you better show up, and you better be there, and or you better have, you know, have those expectations in place for your clients so that they don't call you at 7 a.m. Because if they need you at
True.
7 a.m. and they don't know that you're not available, they're going to be disappointed.
Right.
So I love that. What a great story.
So funny.
And then I want to talk about, if you don't mind sharing your story. I know faith is important to you, and I wanted to talk about you were worried about a client, and you kept them in your thoughts and prayers. Do you mind sharing that story? Because
No,
I
it's
think it's
fine.
also it's a very sweet story too.
Yeah, I've had so many numerous funny stories in real estate, but this one was the first one that came to my mind. Another one happened this weekend, but so when I have a client, I take the entire transaction to heart, and I again am very genuine, and I want the best outcome for my clients. If that means we're walking away from a deal, that means we're walking away from a deal. My opinion is things happen for a reason, and I'm never going to push something. I want the best outcome for everyone. And anyway, so I take that to heart. And yes, I do sometimes pray for my clients. There was a transaction that was going very haywire, very toxic for my buyers. And I was just praying about them a lot. I was even having family members pray for them. I mean, I was praying a lot for them. So much so that apparently when I say their name, I was praying so much that I would just roll out into prayer. So when I tried to pick up the phone and have a conversation with them, I left a message for them, and I said their names, and then I said, and dear Lord, bless them and watch over them. Amen. And I realized I just said a prayer on their voicemail and was totally embarrassed. They called back and said, were you praying for us? It was kind of funny. It did work out for the best in the end, FYI, on that transaction. But it was stressful in the moment. And at least they knew I had their best interest at heart. So
yeah, I think so much of it is demonstrating care, demonstrating empathy, compassion, showing that you're on their team, and whatever way brokers can demonstrate that to their clients is always a win. And I think that's such a great example again of, and it's funny, of course, because, that's just not something that everybody
so
would
awkward.
say,
Yeah.
but just the fact that you even thought to ask your family members to keep those people in mind is also demonstrative of what kind of broker you are. Now, you did mention something happened this weekend. If you're willing to share it, I would be remiss if I didn't ask if you have like a funny story.
Well, this is more, I feel bad. It's a team member on my team. I won't say who it was, but it was just hysterical. So I was out showing property. She was doing an open house for me she was a co-lister on one of our listings. And so she was there, and some gentleman at the open house decided to turn on the body sprays of the shower. And he couldn't get it off. The knob broke and couldn't get off.
No.
So, I almost said her name. She went back there to help. And she ends up, the only way to turn off the body sprays is to physically get in the shower.
Yeah.
And she's working on these knobs and trying to get out. So anyway, she is drenched in water, just covered in water. The shower, the flooring is, covered in water. And she's calling me, and I'm out on a buyer tour, and I answer, and she's like, I'm drenched at the open house. Can you bring me clothes? And I said, I'm in Evanston showing property. And I was like, call this person. And we were able to get her help. But the poor girl's finished the open house drenched like a rat, just hair wet. And I'm sure people were so confused why she is drenched. She literally took a shower in her clothes during the open house. Yes.
Oh, but I mean, I also think that's such a cute thing. I know nobody wants to be drenched at an open house, of course, especially not the broker who's doing the open house, but it's also a really human thing, right? It's one of those things where a buyer might walk in and she might've said, I am so sorry, but here's what happened. But it also shows a level of just willingness to stick around and do the job, right? So I think in a weird way, it probably works you know, it doesn't matter that she's drenched. In some ways, it probably makes her more endearing to the people who walk in, that she's willing to just, you know,
I'm
and
sure.
obviously you guys got it fixed. But
Oh my
again,
goodness.
I think this speaks to that's the most professional thing you can do, is just stick around and yep, I'm a total mess and I'm trying to get it fixed, but I'm not leaving. Right.
Oh
And
yeah.
I think that's awesome. I love that.
When
And
I
it's very relatable, because we've all had something like that
Oh,
happen.
totally, totally. It was pretty funny.
Okay, one last question. Can you name one mistake you've made while growing your business? Because our listeners, they always love to hear what to do, which you've done a great job of explaining, giving some great ideas. Any what not to do, anything that you've done where you went, I wish I wouldn't have done that, or, you know, anything like that.
So, and some people may disagree with me, but I think sometimes when we start to grow, we get so excited and we want to do more marketing and spend more money on this. And honestly, we get calls. I mean, I know all the realtors listening to this will say, yep, I get 5 calls a day of this solicitor to sign up for this. I'm going to get 10 qualified leads today, and then sign up for this. And I'm going to send text messages to all your clients, and just be careful and truly budget. We own a business. You need to look at it as we own a business. We are entrepreneurs, and you need to be careful and budget, and just don't spend beyond your means. I know I was approached to early on in my career to do a video marketing. And back then, like, video was very expensive. It was going to be like $10,000 to do a simple video. And I said, oh gosh, video. And yes, video is where it's at now, right? So when I was like, okay, so $10,000 is going to be an investment into my career forever. Well, thank goodness I finally had the wherewithal to say, no, wait a minute. Technology is going to continue to enhance and continue to get better. Why should I spend $10,000 on a video today where in 5 years it's probably not relevant, right? So be careful. I think the biggest mistake is what we can get ahead of ourselves and spend money where we shouldn't. And I would vet everyone who's calling you, vet and get a reference. Call and say, okay, great. Can I talk to 3 realtors who have had success with this? I just did that with a program. And I only got 1 reference, and I wasn't that satisfied with the response, and I'm glad we didn't sign up. But I would that would be my lesson.
Yeah, that's so important, and really we always forget to talk about that on the show. So I'm glad you bring it up. I've also read that the next tech bubble to burst might be in real estate, because of all the ancillary services that are being pitched to realtors on a regular basis, consumers, right. All these tech companies, especially realtors, are getting you're right. You get 5 calls a day from the new and greatest CRM or a lead system, right. Or websites or whatever. Texting service, and all of those could be awesome. But at the end of the day, this is still very much a face-to-face business, right? And so certain technology is there to enhance and help. But yeah, I say the same thing when people are looking to join a firm. So like, I do recruiting for our firm, and sometimes people will ask me, it's really funny. They'll ask me, they'll go, it's not funny. I mean, I understand why they ask it, but I correct them. And they'll say, can you give me the names of 3 realtors that work at your firm? And I'm like, look, I can easily do that. But odds are, since we don't really know each other, you have to assume that I'm stacking the deck. Like, I'm going to give you people that absolutely love us. And I don't want you to think that I'm going to do that. So here's what you can do instead. At our firm, we've got lots and lots of realtors. I say, just pick 3 at random. That's going to be the real answer, right? And if they don't get back to you, then pick 3 more, but call 3 people. Yeah. And so that's always the problem with a lot of these, with firms. If you're looking to join a firm, everyone promises everything. And I say, call a couple of their realtors just randomly and say, I'm thinking of joining the company. Here's what I'm thinking I need. Do you think they do a good job? And then you'll get the real answer. But same thing with technology, same thing. So what a great, awesome suggestion. And it's funny too. I just got a video quote for our company. It was more of a recruiting video thing. And they were like, oh, it's going to be $30,000. And we're like, really? Like,
it's insane.
It's insane.
I mean, it's so ridiculous. We do have some good video people if you want me to send you some referrals.
Yeah, there we go. See, I trust Julie, so I'm going to take her referral. And that's it. And this, it's at the end of the day, it's realtor meets client, gains their trust or is referred to them from somebody that they've already gained trust, and then just kills it on service, crushes it on service. And ultimately, that's the most important thing. And that's what you've done. And you've done it 2 different times, which is pretty amazing. Most people only become a top producer in one area once. You did it and basically said, I am leaving and going to have to start the whole thing over again. And you did it. And I mean, that is really, truly remarkable. You're the only person we've ever had on the show that successfully has done that. So I want to honor you for that, because that is
Thank you.
massive, and to you, it's probably no big deal. It's just who you are. But to our listeners, this is big, big, big. So everyone out there, get a mentor, find someone like Julie, that can help you, that will mentor you, or, ask for help at your firm and learn from the best. And that's what our podcast is all about. So by the way, Julie, if any, we don't just have realtors that listen, we have clients that listen as well. So if anyone is out there who wants to buy, sell, rent, invest, and is looking to work with your team, what is the best way that a client should reach out to you?
You could call, everyone has my cell phone number, 312-890-4818. I'm very quick to respond.
And visit their website, which is busbygroup.com. By the way, follow them on Facebook. Just search for Busby Group. Same thing on Instagram. Their website's awesome. You really get a sense on your website. And I really want to encourage our listeners who have websites to consider this approach if you're looking to revamp your website. It's funny, I was talking to Matt Laracy. He was on the show a few weeks ago. And I said on his website, he has almost... he doesn't have an MLS search. He doesn't have much of anything. He goes, DJ, I don't want any of that stuff. I just want to tell the story of why people work with me and why they work with our group. And you've done the same thing on your website, which I think is so cool. And I think a lot of times realtors don't think about it from the customer's perspective of like, I need to tell this story. And so everyone, please visit their website to get a good sense of what I think a successful broker or realtor website looks like. Again, busbygroup.com. Follow them on Instagram, follow them on Facebook. If you are a client and you want to work with Julie, go to their website, contact them. She just gave out her phone number as well. Feel free to reach out. And Julie, thank you so much for being on the show. On behalf of the listeners, we really appreciate it. Before we sign off, for everyone listening, if everyone out there just tells one other realtor about our show, people that could benefit from watching or listening to this podcast episode, please let them know. We'll double our listenership. We can do even more episodes. So everyone go out there and tell a friend, and follow us on Facebook, which is facebook.com/keepingitrealpod. Julie, thank you again. I'm so excited to watch your continued success and your group's success. And I know some of the people on your team, they are all just like you, very, very nice, very disciplined, super hardworking people. And you guys have such a cool thing going. And I'm excited to watch it continue. So thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for the opportunity. It's been fun.